And then beyond that, over on the channel, I started Arkham Asylum. I ultimately decided to go with the original version. Having watched a couple of side by side videos, I noticed that the dramatic lighting changes between the two. Overall, the characters with more drastic shadows on them looked better in the original. However, there are environments that look like dog shit in the original now because it's fucking 2009. And
I gotta
anyone
say,
who's not a main character also looks like dog shit.
I absolutely can't stand when a remaster, a port, whatever you call it, right, comes out, and you're left with a situation where you're on like a fucking scale trying to figure out which one is the better one.
Yep.
It's like the new one should be the better one.
Yep.
Like, period.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe it didn't do this one effect quite as well, or this one, but
Mm-hmm.
like they changed whole scenes with the lighting in the re-release.
There's areas where like that the beginning walk and talk with the Joker, for example, literally the intro to the game, the hallway that you're
Completely
in
different.
looks way better with the new lighting, and the guards that have like kind of like the football grid on their faces, on their face masks,
Yeah.
look way better in the remake. Like there's that much more attention. But then you cut over to like Batman walking next to Gordon, and like they're all really bright and they don't have any of that like high contrast shadow on them, and it's like, damn,
Yeah.
well, that looks bad, So
It's fucking weird.
I mean, here's the thing. I feel like if the PC version of the remaster was a thing, then modders could have went in and fixed this.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
it's not a thing, so you're stuck with what you got. Other jank includes the PhysX option that you get to turn on, where it's like it fucking recommends like a GTX fucking putt whatever 2009 card, and and then I switch it on, and it's like, hey man, you don't have this kind of video card. Like, are you sure you can handle it? You might not meet the requirement. And I'm like literally how cute it is. And then it's like, no, the game crashed in the intro, fucking with the PhysX on. So I had to literally go back and turn it off because it's like, hey, do you have a GTX 250 or whatever it was asking for? Like,
that might have been the biggest scam to ever hit graphics card ever, which is like a separate video card just for physics. It's like, and then they discontinued the API. So it's like, it's not even fucking forward supported.
Yep.
Like that shit is gone.
So no. Just fuck your super card. This is still not going to work. Almost like Crysis, just built different. Anyway, so we turned the PhysX off and continued to play. And it's Batman Arkham Asylum, and you're fighting enemies in that Assassin's Creed sticky attack style,
Well, actually, it became the Batman combat after that.
Right. And I know that this is what I brought that up in the recording, but this is what you guys have been calling Batman combat, for a long time. But
2009.
Assassin's Creed did it first. Batman just did it better, right?
No. The reason why we called it Batman instead of Assassin's Creed is because Batman's button layout was just hard stolen by every other thing. The Assassin's Creed combat was really stilted, and often singular strikes didn't actually do that much damage, and Assassin's Creed actually kind of ripped off Batman a little bit. The number one thing was hit the X button on the Xbox to attack in any direction, and Y is the counter button.
Mm-hmm.
the number one thing that defined Batman combat by every game that ripped it off was Y is a counter button, Y is not an instant kill, and when you achieve a certain level of combo, you hit two buttons to kill or
Okay.
to take out or to
Okay.
take down. And like everything uses that like exact button layout.
Spider-Man and Tsushima also kind of, I can see where the like years later we're seeing the thing that's more distinct than that though, like those, the button layout is one thing, but to me what's the most distinct about this style of combat is the sticky auto soft lock.
Yeah.
That's the most defining feature. Like if you start attacking, you're not just going to attack the air, you're going to attack the closest enemy to you, and you can tilt the stick and you're only going to swing at enemies that are around you, you know, and if nothing's there then it'll just whiff, but like
Do a weird looking punch at nothing.
exactly, right? And this brings me to what I think is probably the biggest old game jank aspect of it so far. The bosses and the big boys are not a part of that auto lock system. So you
Oh, hell
have
no.
to run around and swing at them in the ugly, whiffy, shitty feeling version of the combat. And it's
It's
not good.
most of the bosses in that just don't fit into that combat system at all.
At all.
Like that combat system was made for goons.
It feels almost like how in Shadow of the Colossus, Wander can swing his sword, but it's a pointless attack. And it feels as if,
nonsense.
like, you know, you like the whole system is designed for scaling, crawling, hanging onto a Colossus, and stabbing its weak point. But what if we put in occasional moments where you do have to swing your sword? And it's like, but this swing sucks. It's not meant to do anything. And it's like, yeah, but now we have someone that you actually have to use it on. And it's like, ooh, ugh. You
Yeah,
know?
like I think the best boss fight in the entire series is Mr. Freeze in Arkham City, and you don't fight him
Okay.
at all.
Okay.
It's a stealth mission where, like, you know, you do the gargoyle takedown, or you do the great takedown and stuff like that. And the whole fight is that you have to hit him like 8 times or whatever it is, but you only get one of each. Because every time you hit him with one, he won't fall for it the next time.
Okay.
And it's like, okay, that's a boss fight that uses the game's mechanics well.
That
But
sounds
like,
really cool.
I'm reminding myself of like the Bane boss fight.
That's the one
Have
I'm
you seen
thinking
Bane
of.
yet? Oh man, it's fucking terrible. It's
Yeah.
literally just the goddamn Toro fucking beat on the bull when he runs into the wall shit.
And it wouldn't have been as rough if he was, again, treated like the way grunts are, but he's not, and you are swinging in a really ugly, slow manner, and those things have to connect with him. So it's not
Okay.
great.
Wooly, these games are great, but I'm going to be very real with you. The boss fights are only going to get worse from here. And if you're thinking that they're going to pull it out and make a really great final boss fight, fucking dash that hope right now.
So Human Revolution.
Fucking
Got it.
set up your expectations for a fucking terrible final boss fight in almost every game.
Okay. Well, what you just described of Mr. Freeze sounded cool.
It's dead center it's halfway through the second game. It's the absolute middle point.
All right. Well, you don't have to break down any more than that. But
Oh man, those Human Revolution boss fights were fucking terrible. Oh my god. Even the redone versions were real bad.
So that's probably the biggest glaring flaw, I would say. It also seems like the answer to almost everything so far is Batarang. Like every puzzle.
Like a ninja star.
Yeah, but it's like, no, but that's the Batman gadget though. It's Batarang plus Batarang upgrades. You know. We'll see if other Batman gadgets come into play, but right now I'm just throwing ninja stars out at people.
Each game gets more Batman upgrades.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I think, oh man, I'm watching more of this Bane boss fight. where they literally just dump like 10 goons into the fucking room because like the combat system just literally doesn't work at all for
Without
big single
people.
target enemies.
Yep. I'm also a bit like confused and interested in seeing where this lore stuff is going, because Mark Hamill's obviously killing it throughout the entire game, just fucking yelling at you. Riddler's being an annoying fucking, talking shit dude about the puzzles, and there's a whole lot of those.
I should talk to you about the Riddler challenges.
Oh, so yeah, no, I think you already did. There are feathers in Ass Creed 2, right?
No. Well, in Batman Arkham Asylum, the Riddler challenges are really good. There's a lot that are like, figure out what location he's talking about, or go look at a certain location.
Well, one of them was a jank ass fucking like, there's a radio, but if you don't stare at it from the perfect distance at the perfect zoom, it doesn't trigger. And I'm like, all right, it's a little old. We get it.
I want to say that in Arkham Asylum there were like 100,
255. I've been told.
In Asylum, that seems high. But 255, really, huh? Each game fucking just kicked it up. Like City and fucking what do you call it? Night have like 400, I think. And it's like it's oh god, 400 in City and 1,000 in Night. Oh
yeah, that sounds exhausting.
Yeah, it's like in Arkham Asylum, I did it and it was cool and I liked it. And fucking everything after that was just like, it was literally, they made a big wide open area and they were like, well, we have to put something in it. So they put little Riddler trophies everywhere. And like in City and Night, more and more and more and more, it becomes, there's a trophy.
Yeah.
Go pick it up.
Over the years, obviously, as this has been a thing that's been brought up by a lot of people, it's highly anticipated, enjoying it. But, a lot of people can't control their excitement for this game coming up again. And in that, literally, I've gotten, like, messages and emails sent to me about, like, things to know and the this is the, and just dumping at things, just too much in some cases.
Dumping it, yep.
And one of those first things I got was about how the Riddler stuff, there's a lot of them, and don't worry, they're not a big deal. You don't need to get them all. And I already know what the reward is for getting them, because I literally was told in that first thing right away, this is what you get for doing it. So it doesn't matter.
I literally forget what you get for doing it.
It's a video of him getting arrested, apparently.
Oh, okay.
So...
That's definitely one of those things where it's like the doing is more interesting than the fucking reward.
Well, what's more interesting than that is the actual little bits of Arkham whatever thing you're finding, that are going to explain stuff. And I'm curious about what this whole, like, whatever the John Arkham or whoever the fuck that the old man is, and what all that turns into. I'm curious because as an outsider to this franchise, it's been very weird watching what to me has always just been, yeah, that's the loony bin where they lock everyone up and it's for supervillains and that's the place. Yep. And then it has a recurring role in the way that, I don't know, like the Falcones have a recurring role or whatever. But
sure,
over the course of these games, and over the fact that, like, the name Arkham was on the first one and it was such a breakout hit, it seems as if the word Arkham has become a bigger, more gravitas thing than it ever was. And it feels as if you're using it in contexts that never really would have applied, Like, especially when you have to use the word that people recognize for the brand, but you're going like, all right, there's an island. It's kind of like Rikers, sure. Then there's City, all right. And now you're like, it's not the Dark Knight, it's the Arkham Knight. And I'm like, what are you even talking about anymore?
The Arkham Knight.
That's just the place where they put the bet. Like, what? I don't know. I have to get there, but on the outside, this is the confusing thing.
The naming of the Arkham Knight stuff and everything about the Arkham Knight character itself is like the most laughably forced and mismanaged shit that Rocksteady ever did.
Or then just the word origins and all that stuff. And it's like, oh man, like all I can see is, damn, that Batman game was named Arkham Asylum because that's the name of the place and it makes perfect sense. But then it was so successful that the word Arkham is now the brand, so we have to find ways to keep using it, and we have to make the word Arkham a bigger deal than it ever actually was, is what it kind of
should have been like Arkham
happened.
Country. I genuinely feel like
Arkham
the
World.
plot of Arkham City like became like more of itself. Like in Arkham City, you're running around like the new super gigantic city-sized Arkham, and I genuinely feel like that brand stuff affected the fact that it's like I kind of just wanted to roll around real Gotham.
Yeah, I agree. Because the point of what people are looking for here, you want to be Spider-Man zipping around New York, you want to be Batman rolling around Arkham. This is what you're looking for. But yeah, the marketing team saw that word carried weight, and then decided to just carry it and never let it go, even though contextually it only means this thing until proven otherwise. I don't know. Maybe some of the lore.
You're completely right. It's actually super weird.
Okay.
Like you can feel them forcing the title of the game into the plot.
Like outside of the first game, it feels as if the word Arkham should have been Gotham.
Yup. But they were already using
Gotham
the word
City.
Gotham for
Gotham
all their
Knight.
shitty spin-offs.
Gotham Origins. It's much more, like act.
But the brand.
Yeah.
But the trademark.
Yeah. So either way, I want to unlock those little like logs and see where that all goes,
There's something in Arkham Knight that I do want to bring up because it does factor into this discussion, which is if we were running around real ass Gotham, that means there'd be like regular people, assumedly.
Yes.
Right. And so in Arkham Knight, you are running around most of the actual city of Gotham, and their solution to that is the car, right?
Yes.
But running pedestrians over with the car can't happen because it's Batman.
So you tase them.
The pedestrians, so they're all gone. But you're running over goons, you tase them. But it might be in Spider-Man when you knock a guy off a building, if you look carefully, like a spider web fires off of, right?
Totally.
In Arkham Knight, it might be the most ridiculous solution to this like probably brand problem. Where like you can run dudes over at like 110 miles an hour, and they will ragdoll straight into a building. But because you electrified them first, it's non-lethal because you tased it. It's so absurd.
The Tumbler's aura has a taser field on it that drops people before the physical contact.
It's fucking wild.
Yeah.
Like you can run the tire over their head and they're being constantly electrocuted, and it's like, well, they're fine. I tased them.
The tank is rubber, I swear. Yeah. So that's all there. And
so somebody point out that recently you've entered into the Never Killed Anyone
arc.
Channel.
Yes.
Yeah.
The heroes that are totally without a body count. Fantastic. I also am running into I found some weird ass bugs. There's a part in the beginning right before the Bane fight where you drop down on kidnapped Gordon and you hit Harley Quinn.
I saw that, and
it just didn't trigger the cutscene. So now I'm standing in a room with an armed Harley Quinn, but she has a grunt voice.
Has the raw proportions.
and you punch her, and then she attacks you, and you can't take her down. It was so fucking weird. Yeah, so there's just some good old QA mischief to be found there. Not to mention, of course, that this is as well, I would say, the start of inexpensive cosplay pigtail Harley,
Yep.
sexy nurse Harley. So I'm like, man, all right.
It's totally the start. Like, it went through the Arkham series and then it made it to Suicide Squad.
At least the Jester outfit is on the profile on the pause screen, you know.
Yeah.
But yes, the Juggalette is here. Whoop whoop. And yeah, like again, like Hamill is obviously just like handed the game itself on a silver platter. It feels like he's
100%.
carrying it every 5-10 minutes, you know. So yeah, so far so good. There's moments that make me wish I was playing the remake, but we've made our bed. We're gonna sleep in it. In the end, this is what we've been handed, you know. And I to correct myself from earlier, I remember I said that the PS5 version of didn't work of the Return to Arkham shit, and it turns out it does if you go through a couple of steps, such as like pre-owning it on your console. But I can say this as someone who did not own it, or rather, I had it physically on PS4, but my PS5 is discless, so going to the store on PS5, searching for Arkham, does not yield the remake as anything you can buy and use just like that. It shows you the 2009 PS3 version that you can do through streaming, PS Now or whatever, but you can't just go to the store and buy it. Furthermore, if you go to your phone app and try to buy it that way, it says you cannot do so. So you have to, I think, it seems like the instructions were insert the disc to let the console recognize the ownership, I think, and then you have to switch over to the PS5. Like there's a couple of steps you have to take, but
for those of you who can't see me in video form, I'm rolling my fucking eyes at this nonsense.
Yeah.
This is so fucking stupid.
It's dumb. But there's a way to do it, and there's a tweet explaining how that you can follow. But you can't just go to the store and buy it. So